Hey guys, how's it going? My name's Tujin. I'm joined in with Jay, and today we have three small compact subwoofers from three well-known subwoofer companies, and we're doing a shootout.
So the well-known companies KEF, SVS, and REL all decided to release new subwoofers. So we decided to do a comparison of these three. Now we compare them in 15 different categories that we found important, but keep in mind there's no such a thing as a perfect comparison. These were categories that we found interesting and what we think that will help you make an informed purchase decision. So by no means, each of these categories may have different value propositions to you. So keep that in mind while you watch this video.
So here are the three models. We have the KEF KC62 that we did a video on before, the SVS Micro 3000, and the REL T7X that just got released 2 or 3 days ago.
Yep, well, of making this video.
Yeah.
And just to make things very clear, we may keep staring down on the table because we have a piece of paper to keep all these categories intact and in our memory. So the first category is price, and the KEF KC62 comes at $1,500 US, SVS Micro at $800 US, and the REL T7X at $1,000 US. And the SVS Micro wins this category for its lowest price, and also the T7X wins the second place for having the second lowest price. Simple as that on this category.
So the second category is extension, and this is just based off manufacturer specs. We're going to go even more deeper into it with the later categories as we actually evaluate these specs. But the KEF KC62 goes down to 11 Hz plus or minus 3 dB. The SVS 3000 Micro goes down to 23 Hz plus or minus 3 dB, and then finally with the REL T7X going down to 30 Hz at negative 6 dB. So the winner here would be the KEF, and then the SVS coming second.
And the third category is power amount, just purely amount, because we'll test as we test later on, these numbers don't really mean much in real life situations. But going off the power amount, 1000 watts or 2 times 500 watts RMS for the KEF KC62, for the SVS Micro 800 watts RMS, and the REL T7X 200 watts RMS. And for this category, the obviously KEF KC62 wins, winning 2 points, and the SVS Micro winning 1 point with its 800 watt and 2500 watt peak power.
So the next category is driver size. With the KC62, you have two 6.5 inch drivers. With the SVS Micro, you get two 8 inch drivers. And then with the REL, it's a bit different. It has a 10 inch passive radiator and a 8 inch active driver. Now, really, we did not give this a score because the driver size shouldn't really matter. It's more about the implementation.
Yeah, and also the REL T1003, was it?
The HT1003.
HT, yes. So it has a 10-inch woofer, which is the biggest one in these categories. And as we will test later, it did not perform the best in terms of its capabilities in multiple categories, as we'll talk about. So it really doesn't matter in terms of its driver size. It has to do more with the integration. So we found that it was unfair to give a point just based on driver size alone. So we left this one empty. Moving on to the next category is cabinet size. And according to cabinet size, the KEF KC62 is a clear winner with such a small cabinet size, as you can probably see here. And the SVS Micro is the next up with just a tad bit bigger cabinet size, and the REL T7X being the biggest boy in the house. So with this being said, the KEF KC62 wins 2 points, and the Micro wins 1, and the REL T7X 0.
All right, so the next category is the Bluetooth app. And I think that is a killer feature, and it's the only subwoofer that has that is the SVS Micro. Neither the KEF or the REL have a Bluetooth app, which is essentially just a fancy remote where you can set all your settings from your seating position. So because it's unfair to give 2 points to just one sub, we're going to give the SVS that 1 extra point because it has it and none of the other subs do.
And I feel like more subwoofer companies should implement this into their subwoofer system, but I feel like we also put that category there just so that we can give the SVS a point for that amazing app capability. So
the next category is connectivity. How do we hook up these subs? Well, with the KEF KC62, there's a ton. So you get the LFE input, you get high level in using speaker cables, RCA in, and then there's also the high pass filters as well that you can use with the KC62. Now with the SVS Micro, you get the LFE in, or a stereo RCA in, and then you also get the optional high pass out. And then finally with the REL, you get the LFE and high pass in. And the cool thing about the REL is that you can use both inputs at the same time. So you can have it in a home theater system using the LFE, and also integrated with your speakers using the high level. So the clear winner for us is the KEF KC62, because it just has the most feature rich like connectivity settings. And then after that would be the REL, because none of the subwoofers work the same way, where you have two independent controls for both home theater and music listening.
And next category is build quality. Now this one was a tough one because all these subwoofers have amazing build quality and finish on them, regardless of the price point, but we just had to give it to the KEF KC62 because of its sheer weight. Even though this is a small subwoofer, it weighs more than the REL T7X or the SVS Micro, and it's hefty, built like a tank, and it just seems like a really well built subwoofer. And the second winner was the T7X, because we found that the finish and the fit is always REL, just has a really good finish and build quality on them. Now SVS Micro is not far behind. In fact, it could have easily won any of these categories amongst others competitors in our opinion. So again, 2 points to the KEF KC62 and 1 point to the REL T7X in this category.
So next category is max output. And this was essentially done by playing some really heavy bass tracks from movies like Blade Runner, especially the track 2049. And that's essentially just how loud these subwoofers can go without distorting. And surprise, surprise, we were. We honestly thought it was going to be the SVS. We thought the SVS would win because it is one of the highest regarded brands for home theater. It has that 2500 watt peak RMS with the amp, so I really thought it would kill it, really.
But it wasn't the case. Take it away.
So it was actually the REL, the T7X. It basically almost demolished this category. It was able to play a much, like, a good like 6, almost up to like 10 dB louder than the other subwoofers without distorting at all. And then obviously following up with that was the SVS Micro 3000. At certain levels it would distort, but once we got it, fine-tuned, it was handling the track fine. And then the KC62 just wasn't able to do it. I mean, it felt almost dangerous doing so.
Yeah, the KEF was not able to produce louder SPL levels with these tracks, but REL was very surprising. Even though it's a bigger sized cabinet, we didn't expect that it would beat or outperform the SVS, but it did. So this was a very surprising outcome for us. Now the next category is home theater dynamics, which ties directly with the max output because you want that ability to really pressurize the room. And so we have the KEF KC62 in last place for this one, as you can imagine, and the SVS Micro in the second place with 1 point for this category, as again ties directly with the previous category, and the REL T7X again surprisingly taking the first on this category.
Okay, now here's something that's really interesting. So their next category is the integration with speakers, and all three of these companies come from a different approach. With SVS, you get the Bluetooth app and only the RCA's in. And, you get all these nice DSP options with their app, with phase, everything's just embedded in the app and whatever smart module that they have in that amplifier. Then with the REL, it's more traditional. It's simply just using the high level input or the LFE channel and just dialing in with the phase and the crossover. And then with the KC62, you get the high pass filter, the high level in, the LFE in, the stereo in.
Basically everything.
You basically get everything. And what we chose was the REL T7X, integrated the easiest by far and the best out of all three subs, with the KC62 coming second.
Very close second, actually.
And the SVS wasn't bad per se. It actually was pretty good. It's just that, just going off ranking and performance, we had to give it to the REL and the KC62. But personally, I wasn't
However,
upset.
with that being said, after hearing the REL and the KEF KC62's performance, and especially being so surprised with the KEF KC62 being so close to outperforming the REL, the SVS Micro just didn't cut it for me after demoing side by side with these subwoofers that integrated beautifully with the speakers. So for me, it was a hard win for REL and KEF.
Okay.
Now, the next category is warranty and customer service, which is something that is often overlooked, but it's something that is so important when it comes to subwoofers and just products like these in general. So the first one, the KEF KC62, with KEF, you get 5 years on the drivers, 2 years on the amp for warranty, 30-day standard return with 5% restocking fee if the item is non-defective. So instance, if you have the subwoofer, you didn't like it, you returned it and it's working perfectly fine, then you get the 5% restocking fee. Now with the SVS Micro or the SVS company, 5-year unconditional warranty with 45 days in-home trial, risk-free is what they claim. The REL T7X or the REL company is 3-year warranty with 60-day home trial with free return. So I believe that pretty much kills it. SVS and REL wins this category, which makes me really happy because I've dealt with SVS customer service before. They were extremely excellent.
Yeah, and I've dealt with them with products that are out of warranty and they still help me set it up.
Yeah, and I'm really happy to see that they are both REL and SVS is offering 45 days and 60 days respectively in-home trials. So this category goes to the SVS Micro or SVS for its outstanding customer service and 5-year unconditional warranty with 45 days in-home risk-free trial. And the second place goes to REL for 3 years warranty, 60-day in-home trial, and the KEF last place for having basically a standard return policy.
All right, now we're gonna look at the finish and aesthetics because that matters. And we gave the best finish or full points to the REL. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love the piano black finish. And then I gave the runner-up to the SVS. And just to get a second opinion, I asked my girlfriend, and she just loved how clean the SVS looked. Now, Jay's gonna tell you the opposite because I think Jay likes the KEF KC62 more.
I found the KEF KC62 to look a little bit better than the SVS Micro. But with Tujin's girlfriend's opinion, we decided to give the second place to the SVS Micro. I still think the REL looks the best, even though it's a little bit too much.
It's a bit flashy.
Too much flashy, REL everywhere. But I feel like this time is a little bit more low-key with the engravings and so on. And I just love the REL look. So for me, it was the REL in first place and SVS Micro being a very, very hard second place, and the KEF KC62 being last place for its aesthetics.
So comment down below. We know this is very subjective. What do you guys think is the best looking? Let us know.
And the next category is musicality, which is something that is very, very important to me personally. So in terms of musicality, we look for speed, we look for integration, we look for just how musical it is when you pair it up with your speakers. Is it fast? Is it musical? Is it smooth? Is it textured? All those things matter. So the overall impression is what we strive to mark in this category. So the KEF KC62 was actually first place because it's just integrated really well. It was really agile, really fast, and for music, that's what we want. And it was very, very, very impressive. Even compared to the REL, I just found it to be just better. And even Tujin, you agree with me as well?
Yeah, no, I didn't expect myself to think that, I didn't expect the KC62 to be that good. It's just linear, fast, textured bass.
And most importantly, you don't hear the subwoofer whatsoever. If the drivers were not moving, I would not know that it's even there. So it was just an absolute delight in terms of musicality. It was just absolutely a delight to listen to. And the second category, second place was the T7X, which I absolutely love. Again, the REL series are absolutely amazing and for its musicality and known for its musicality. And I thought it would win the first place, but it was a close second. Now, it is a matter of taste, in my opinion, when it comes down to this, because the T7X has more texture. It's a bit more warmer sounding. It has more character than the KEF. but the KEF just to me was interesting and amusing and did something the REL didn't do, which was just completely disappear from sight and view. Not that the REL or the SVS didn't seem like it was well integrated, but compared to the KEF, it was just not even comparable. So again, long story short, KEF KC62 2 points, REL 1 point for being second place, and the SVS 0 points for last.
And the reason why the SVS honestly was last is just that it was, after hearing those two subs, it was audible that it is a slower driver. It really is.
If I didn't hear any other sub and just heard the micro, I would have thought, wow, this is an improvement from previous SVS subwoofers.
Yeah, no, it's a huge improvement.
Faster, it sounds quicker, more agile, and I really wouldn't have problem with the subwoofer whatsoever, but hearing it side by side with REL and KEF was what really killed it, because in comparison, you heard the cabinet a little bit more, you heard the drivers a little bit more, and you heard a little bit of a little bit less speedy attack and decay with the bass region. So that's what it was. But again, all these subwoofers were very close, and considering the price again was very impressive. So total points were 13 points to the KEF KC62, 11 points to the SVS Micro, and 13 points to the REL T7X, which is surprising. They tied in scores. Again, different categories may weigh differently to you.
Okay, wait. Which sub would you own out of all three? I'll go first. So for me, I think I'm close between the SVS and the REL. The only reason I'm going to choose the REL over the SVS is just due to me liking that musicality a bit better. But I'm serious. That Bluetooth app on the SVS is absolutely fantastic. And it's really cool to see 3 different companies' versions of like what they think is a new and improved subwoofer. With REL, they clearly looked at the driver and the amplifier being class AB, and then with SVS, they focused more on the technology with all the DSP features and like the convenience with the Bluetooth. And then there's KEF that just went all out.
Yeah, I feel like these companies obviously focused on different categories, and for me, I think that the KEF KC62 is what was what a subwoofer that was more concentrated for like my type of people. That's a weird way of putting it. But what I'm trying to say is that in terms of musicality, it was no comparison. So if I had to have one subwoofer, I would choose the KEF KC62 because I mostly listen to music. But if this was for a multi-purpose room and like upstairs, then I would go for the SVS Micro and save $700, or spend a little bit more, $100 more, and get 2 SVS Micros. And that I think would be extremely good for my space upstairs. Yeah, so that would be my choice. The Rel T7X. Oh, I would choose the Rel T7X, but I would want 2. That would cost me $2,000, which would be the most in this category. But just being price conscious, I think that would be my choice. And if you watched up to this point, as a thank you, you are eligible to enter for the Rel T5x giveaway that we'll be doing on this video. All you have to do is follow the instructions in the descriptions and the pinned comment below, and you'll be entered. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Peace.